The rise of Adolf Hitler was as demonic as anything anyone has seen in the history of the world. At the time, a young theologian and pastor, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, exercised spiritual influence to the point that he paid the ultimate price. In the story of Bonhoeffer, we see what it means to confront the powers. On February 1, 1933, when Bonhoeffer was just 27 years old, he sat in a radio studio in Berlin and delivered a radio address just 2 days after Hitler had been appointed Chancellor of the German Republic. In it, Bonhoeffer challenged the idolatrous cult of Führer, saying that that kind of leadership power would inevitably lead to a seductive and evil form of rule. Bonhoeffer himself had no power by which to confront the powers except truth and persuasion. In 1934, he helped organize the Confessing Church and signed the Barmen Declaration, which asserted that Christ, not the Führer, is the head of the church. He spent a year in New York teaching theology and was able to experience the vitality of the African American church as he attended Abyssinian Baptist Church. Later, Bonhoeffer would pastor 2 small German congregations in England. Though he was a brilliant theologian, Bonhoeffer spent a great amount of time and effort preparing sermons for the handful of people under his care. In 1939, Bonhoeffer went to America again, but decided almost immediately to return to Germany to see what he could do in the face of the gathering storm. The Nazis tried to silence him, perceiving him to be a threat, by forbidding him to speak in public or to publish. He joined the German resistance and was instrumental in forming a plot to assassinate Adolf Hitler. When the plot failed, Bonhoeffer was arrested, put in Buchenwald concentration camp, then Regensburg, and finally Flossenburg prison. With the Third Reich crumbling and the defeat of Adolf Hitler imminent, orders were given for Bonhoeffer to be executed, and on April 9, 1945, he was hanged. For 12 years, he had confronted the powers. He did so in writings and sermons, in ministry, and also in political resistance. What he accomplished in a very short adult life was influential then and continues to be influential on people all over the world. In the end, for Hitler, it really wasn't about tanks and fortresses and gas chambers. What he really idolized was power, authority, and his own twisted form of truth. In the end, a young German pastor was able to demonstrate that Hitler never had authentic power or genuine truth or appropriate authority. Bonhoeffer died with a wire around his neck, but prayed with his fellow prisoners with a peaceful demeanor just minutes beforehand. In a radical contrast, Hitler died 3 weeks later, having taken his own life by drinking poison and shooting himself after days of insane ravings. If there is a vacuum of spiritual leadership in any culture, it will be filled by something dark. Jesus said, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy." But of himself he said, "I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." Dietrich Bonhoeffer saw the dark side of power up close. He confronted it, and he was killed because of it. But he was not defeated because he knew that there is no real rival to the power, authority, and truth of God in Christ.